Welcome to 3D.sk, human photo reference for 3D artists and game developers. On this site you can find thousands of images, from studio photo reference to street photo reference. We also have a selection of animals on our site. We have some costumes, we have weapons, armor. We also have 3D scans of bodies and heads, clothing, animals, all the aforementioned above, and 3D maps and textures. So in this episode, we're going to start off in 3D.sk again. So we're going to search for an eye texture, so we can use it inside Photoshop and use it in ZBrush for our character. So I'm just going to pick the first one, which is this one, as it looks quite good. And I'm going to download this file. I've already bought this one, and I've already got it on my computer. So if you just click download, it'll download to your computer, and then you can move it to the appropriate place. Now let's switch to Photoshop. So in Photoshop, I'm going to open it up. It is in my desktop, and it should be right here. Okay, so this is the full resolution of the image. So let's first start off by just looking at what we need to do to make this ready. So you can see that it's got this rainbow effect, and that's from the camera, and a few little red dots here and there that we'll need to get rid of. And that's just the camera reflecting off the eye lens, or the cornea. Because eyes are quite complicated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer. And this will be a color layer. And we're just going to paint over them in a color layer. So I want to view my brushes, and I'm going to go to general brushes and just choose soft brown pressure opacity. Bring up the brush size a little bit. Okay, let's go to the original image and just select, let's say this color looks pretty much like it's the color that it wants. So I'm just going to softly go around, just kind of get rid of that rainbow effect as much as I can. Okay, so let's just hide this for a sec, and we can see that we've got rid of some of the orange texture that we want to keep. Just going to go around the edge a little bit here. Okay, so what we can do with that is we can get brush, we can turn the opacity down a little bit by using the rubber, and we can just bring some of that back if we like with the rubber tool. Now, I don't like the shape of it so much, so let's turn the flow down, turn the opacity down even more. Just going to go in circles and kind of create it a bit more randomly. Have a look again. Okay, a little bit up here that we want to keep. And this just helps it to blend a bit nicer. So maybe a bit here that we want to keep. You can just keep going over certain areas. Maybe around here a little bit. It's fine if some of the rainbow is coming through, just not too much of it. Just hide it. And you can see that we're mostly just covering the rainbow part now. Go back to our brush and turn down the opacity and flow. And let's choose this color again. And maybe just go over those parts again. Maybe we can change the color a little bit. Maybe make it a little bit brighter. And try that out. Just slightly change the colors. Make it a bit more maybe vibrant. You know, some color variation can always make it look a bit nicer. Might go back to my eraser here and just kind of bring back this a little bit. Kind of made a line here that I don't really like. I'm just going to blend that a bit better. See any lines, kind of probably want to get rid of them. Okay, so he has got some purple texture in his eye. I'm not sure if that's because of the camera or not, but we can maybe just give him a bit of that if we want to. Maybe he has got a bit of purple. Pigment in eye is a very strange thing. Maybe we can put some of that purple in every so often. So let's just zoom out of the eye and see how it's looking. Okay, I don't like those dark purple bits I've put in too much. They kind of ruin it a tiny bit for me. Let's just go back to this color. Make it a lot brighter, very vibrant. And let's just kind of circle that in there. Go back to brush. Bring some of it back out. Turning down the flow and the opacity. Okay, the main idea is to get rid of the rainbow effect. Okay, now we can move on to getting rid of the red part. So, easy way to do this is just create a new layer. Turn up the opacity a little bit. Select this area. Just kind of select a color from around here somewhere. And just kind of blend it in a little bit. No, you shouldn't be able to see any more red areas. Just going to go around and kind of get rid of that red area there as well. I don't like it too much. Just kind of fade it in. Okay, that's looking a bit better. Maybe choose this color. Kind of make it a bit more like that. We have got rid of some of the detail of the eye though, which I don't really like. So I might just try doing this again. Let's just delete that. I don't like how much I smoothed that out. And I might just try going to hard round pressure. Just trying to get this a bit more kind of matching what this is like. More. So go in here, maybe choosing this color. Got a kind of cloudy effect. Maybe we can choose a wet media brush. Try Cal's paint box. You can maybe just do this a little bit. Okay. Still want to kind of get rid of this. Put paintbrush on. This is not a paintbrush apparently. So let's just choose a different one. Let's try this one. Is this a paintbrush? The smudge tool. Which is not what I want. I want brush settings. Brush tip shape. Here we go. Let's try more like, just to get a bit more of a random effect, maybe this one. Let's turn the brush size down. And maybe let's just go in with this. It won't let me choose these as brushes. I'm not used to this latest version of Photoshop. I'm just going to choose brush. I'm going to change the brush tip shape. Something a bit more like this. Okay. This feels a little bit better. Turn up the opacity so I can see what's going on. Yeah, this feels a little bit more like the original. Sorry, just a bit of technical error there with the new way they're doing brushes. I don't like that too much. But that should get rid of all the red marks and kind of keep that kind of middle of the eye going on. So now I want to create a new color layer. I want to go back to just a standard soft round brush. I want to choose this color. Obviously change it to a color layer. Choose this color, maybe this color. Just kind of go over that a little bit. Maybe I can go new layer and just kind of fix this up a little bit. Ooh. Turn down the opacity. Just trying to create like the fibers. Just to kind of break this up a little bit. Kind of the main idea of what I'm trying to do here. So that's kind of worked. Yep, that seems to have broken it up a little bit. And now we don't really have many errors left. Apart from maybe we can just kind of go around here a little bit. That should be fine though. So now comes the next area where we need to merge all these down now. So let's do that. Merge down, merge down, merge down. Let's just merge visible. That seemed to have worked a little better. So now what I want to do is I want to get a ellipse marquee tool. Deselect everything with Control D. And try and select a circular area of this. Or we can use the lasso tool and just try and select as much of this eye as we can. Just try and ignore the eyelid and try and get as much of this out as you can, as it's going to help. So I'm just going to Control C, go to New, drag this over quickly, and you want the width and the height to be the same. So from the biggest number, so 2195, so we get a square. I'm just going to paste that in there. Gonna get a filter, not filter, view, new guide, and you can go 50% if you'd put percent in here. And again, you can go new guide, horizontal, 50%. So I'm just going to move this eye to the middle, roughly. Okay, that's fine for me. And then I can turn off guides, clear guides. Okay. So now what I want to do is I just want to create a duplicate of this. Where is duplicate? Here it is. And then I want to use the spots healing brush. Sorry, I need the healing brush. That's the right one. Gonna make it bigger. And then you're basically gonna do something like this. Just kind of get some of that eye out. So you can even do it here. Maybe we want this area over here. At the moment, you're just trying to kind of fill it in randomly. It doesn't really matter at this point if it's perfect, because we can go over that later. You see, the more we sample, the more parts we get, so the easier it gets. So you just want to start creating like a kind of baseline. Let me select here. Now I can go all the way to the end here. And just get that bottom area. Getting a bit too veiny over here. Okay, so now you should see that we have roughly the right color. So what I want to do now is I want to just pick a color from here maybe. Let's go to our paintbrush. I just want to paint this color around. So if I just make my brush a bit bigger. Just gonna paint this color around a little bit. The reason why I wanted this duplicate is because I'm going to Control C, Control V this duplicate. Sorry, duplicate it. I'm gonna put it on top. And we're just gonna go through the different settings and see if we can get something that kind of blends in a bit better. So you can see the color here. Don't like that very much. I might just keep this here for now. This is a normal. Just kind of color pick. And just kind of blend it in. Color pick here, blend it in. Color pick here, blend it in. Color pick here, here, blend it in a little bit. Maybe a bit more here. Just trying to kind of get it like that. Yeah. Now we've got some better colors going on. Can duplicate this again. Put it on top. Maybe turn down the opacity a little bit. Maybe we can turn the opacity to full. Go back to our spot healing brush. Maybe just try and kind of copy some of these parts around. Okay, I like the look of that. Okay. Try and get some of this in there. Trying to be kind of very careful with what I do here. It's all a bit of trial and error doing these kind of things to see what works best. We're going to be changing this a bit in ZBrush anyway. So what we can do is we can just kind of create that. Getting a bit out of control now, but it's fine. Quite veiny around this area. Think that looks fine to me. Apart from the density of veins here. Just going to do this area now. color on top of this just to make it a bit more blend in. No, that doesn't seem too great. Darker color. That doesn't really help us at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to paint myself. Just kind of smooth out the edges a little bit. Okay. So now that that's done, I'm fairly happy with that. It's got some veins for me to work with and carry on in ZBrush. Just going to save this. Going to save it as a JPEG. Going to save it as I_edit. Now in the next episode we can move on to 3ds Max and hopefully ZBrush. See you in the next episode. Welcome to the end of this tutorial. Feel free to comment with feedback and suggestions below, and also comment on what you would like to see in future videos. Thanks and goodbye.